Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is something sweet. You know it's there. And part of your brain, a very old, very stubborn part, is already thinking about it. You haven't moved yet, but you will. And the real reason you will has nothing to do with willpower. It has everything to do with a world that no longer exists. Your body was built for scarcity, not the mild inconvenience of an empty fridge. Real scarcity. The kind where a single ripe fruit hanging from a branch was a rare and urgent event. For nearly 2 million years, your ancestors lived in that world. And in that world, sugar meant one thing: energy. Immediate, dense, life-saving energy. The brain learned to treat it like a signal flare. Psychologist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent decades mapping what happens in the brain when you encounter something sweet. What he found was unexpected. It isn't just pleasure. It's a wanting system, a dopamine-driven circuit that fires before you even take a bite. Your brain doesn't just enjoy sugar, it hunts for it. It is built to compel you toward it, even when you're trying to resist. This is the system that kept your ancestors alive. A child in the ancient savannah who ran toward the berry bush, who ate fast, who came back tomorrow. That child survived. The one who felt nothing toward sweetness had less energy, fewer calories, a harder time making it through a dry season. Over thousands of generations, the ones who craved sugar passed on that craving. You are their descendant. The hunger in you is not a flaw, it is an inheritance. The problem is that inheritance arrived in a world your ancestors could not have imagined. In 1972, British physiologist John Yudkin published a book called Pure, White and Deadly. In it, he made an argument that was largely ignored for decades. Refined sugar, not fat, was the primary driver of modern metabolic disease. The food industry pushed back hard, but the data kept accumulating. The average human in the ancient world consumed almost no refined sugar, perhaps a few grams per day from fruit and the occasional honeycomb. Today, the average person in a modern industrialized country consumes somewhere between 17 and 22 teaspoons of added sugar per day. Your body has no evolutionary precedent for that number. What happens inside you when that sugar arrives is not mysterious. It floods the bloodstream. Insulin surges. Dopamine spikes. And then, roughly 90 to 120 minutes later, blood sugar drops. And the wanting system fires again. You feel it as a craving, a low mood, a vague restlessness. You don't connect it to what you ate earlier. You just know something feels off. So you reach for something. And the cycle continues. Neuroscientist Nicole Avena at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai has shown in extensive research that this cycle can mirror the behavioral patterns of substance dependence. Binging, withdrawal, escalating tolerance. The brain adapts. What satisfied you last year barely registers today. You need more to feel the same lift. This is not a character weakness. This is a system doing exactly what it was built to do, running full speed inside a context it was never designed for. The food industry understood this before most scientists did. Taste scientists, some working for the largest food companies in the world, spent years calibrating what they called the bliss point, the precise ratio of sugar, salt, and fat that maximizes craving without triggering fullness. Not satisfaction, craving. The goal was never to fill you up. The goal was to keep the wanting system activated just long enough to reach for one more. So when you open that cabinet at 10 p.m. and feel powerless, you are not weak. You are ancient. You are carrying a survival circuit that won an evolutionary arms race, and then walked straight into a trap designed by people who knew exactly how that circuit worked. Your ancestors would have given anything to live in a world with this much sweetness. They would have eaten until they couldn't move and considered it a miracle. They had no reason to develop a stop signal. There was never enough sugar in the natural world to need one. You live in the world they would have dreamed of, and your brain still doesn't know what to do with it. Tonight, when you feel that pull towards something sweet, it isn't weakness speaking. It's 2 million years of survival wisdom that never got the update. The craving isn't yours to be ashamed of. It's older than your name, older than your language, older than anything you were ever taught about discipline or self-control. It was built to keep you alive in a world that no longer exists. And somehow, stubbornly, beautifully, it is still trying.